Hey guys, it's Noelle, the host of Pop Punk and Pizza, and today I'm going to be ranking my top 5 favorite albums that were released in 2024. So as you probably noticed, I have my little Pokemon plushie here. This is Meryl the Mouse, and he's my favorite Christmas present that I got this year, so that's why he's here. I just figured it would be fitting for an end of the year video. So yeah, let's get into my top 5 favorite albums of 2024. Okay, so I'm going to start with my number 5 on the list, and then I'm gonna work my way up to number 1, my most favorite on the list. So my least favorite of my favorites was Bring Me the Horizon Nextg. And this one, it wasn't my favorite Bring Me the Horizon album, but it did have some really good ones on here, some bangers. Like Kool-Aid was my number 1 favorite song on this album. And I also really like Dark Side, A Bullet With My Name On, featuring Under Oath, and Limousine, which kind of reminded me of a Deftones song. This one features Aurora, which is an artist that I've never heard of before, and it's really good. So on this album, they had a lot more pop-punk influences compared to their other albums, which are all more on the metalcore side. They started out very heavy, like almost deathcore, and then they kind of got more pop as they went along, but they were never like fully pop, I would say. But this one has like the most pop-punk-ness on it, which I think they did a good job with. The songs that they did have some pop-punk influences on, like Lost and Strangers and Die For You, for example. But they still have that metalcore sound to it as well, and it also includes a lot of like electronic sounds and almost like video game sounds, and it's a very cool combination. And for this album they also had some cryptic marketing, which is one of my favorite things when bands do it, like cryptic like extra videos and like content that you kind of have to like look for. And it also has some backwards messages in one of the songs, I think, in at least one of the songs for sure. And I had to like use an app to reverse it to figure out what it said. So that's really cool. I love when bands do that. And the music videos for the songs on this album are very interesting as well, to say the least. There's some that are extremely gory and some that are just, for Amen, that one's just like, what is going on? It's kind of all over the place. It's extremely chaotic, but highly entertaining. So I would, I don't know if I would recommend that you watch it, but you know, if you're looking to be confused and entertained, then I would suggest that you watch it. It's also got some interesting transitions on here as well. They're not quite songs, they're kind of like shorter sound bits, I guess you could call them, but it kind of makes it feel more like it's like a cryptic video game. It's hard to explain, but if you listen to the album, you'll know what I mean. If I had to rank all the songs on this album, this would be my list. Kool-Aid is number 1, Dark Side, A Bullet With My Name On, Limousine, NA, like not available, Amen, Lost, top 10 Statues That Cried Blood, R.I.P., Utopia, then Strangers, Die For You, Dig It, and then the transition songs. Okay, so for Palaye Royale, this was not my favorite Palaye Royale album. It did have some major bops on here, but not a lot. Like, I kind of expected more from it. But my favorite one on here was Death or Glory or Mr. Devil. It's really hard for me to choose between those two. Mr. Devil is kind of a heavier song, you know, it's kind of got that more screaming on it, those harsher vocals. And Death or Glory is a very Palaye Royale song, and it's a really good one too, so it's hard for me to choose between them. I think I would say Death or Glory is my favorite, which is the title track of this album. Overall, this one was just more poppy than their other albums. Like, they started out being more like garage rock type, like the Stooges mixed with like MC5 or something. And then they kind of transitioned to, with the Bastards, they had a like much heavier sound, and it had more like My Chemical Romance influence, and maybe like even some 21 Pilots influence in there. And it was kind of more, you know, like on the emo side, not like Midwest emo. I mean more like the commercially known emo, like MCR, Pierce the Veil, stuff like that. And then they kind of got back to their like more garage rock sound with Fever Dream, and like incorporated that, like both of those sounds together on that album. And that one sounded really cool as well. The Bastards is still my favorite album out of all of them. And then with this one, this one I think has to be their poppiest album. It's just kind of more like radio rock, you know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't really have as much oomph as their other albums. It wasn't really as satisfying as their other albums to me. But another one of my favorite songs on this album that I wanted to talk about is Dark Side of the Silver Spoon, which reminded me a lot of Panic at the Disco's first album, A Fever You Can't Sweat Out. It's got kind of like that more jazzy, like, not jazzy, but like 20s sound to it. I don't really know how to describe it, but if you know, you know. And it's good to dance to, and it has more of their old sound on there, so I did really like that one. Showbiz has more of like their Fever Dream sound, and yeah, like Mr. Devil has more of their Bastard sound, and yeah, there's a lot that are just more like radio rock and like kind of love songs. And one gripe I did have about this album was an ache in my heart. In the intro and in the background of the chorus, there's these really high-pitched vocals. Like they made Remington's vocals a lot higher, like chipmunk sounding. And when they posted like a video like promoting the song before the full thing came out, I thought they just like sped it up or like hired the pitch on purpose just for like social media, or because they were just kind of teasing it and the full thing wasn't out yet. But that is actually in the official song, and I hate it. I don't hate the song overall, but I hate that they did that. I hate that they made his voice sound like a chipmunk. Like, it's just, I can't take it seriously, and I don't know why they did that. It would sound so much better if they just had it at his normal pitch. Like, I don't know why they did that. They just kind of like, I don't know, it was just a bad choice, in my opinion. But one thing that I did love about this album that made me burst out laughing, it had me dying, it was just caught me so off guard, was Pretty Stranger towards the end of the song. You know, like in the Mario Brothers video games, there's a character, Toad, who's a little mushroom guy. They have his voice in there, like towards the end, and he's like, "Here we go!" And I just burst out laughing. I was like, wait a minute, is that Toad? And I'm pretty sure it is. You can see for yourself, but I'm pretty sure it's Toad. And I think it's because the song has to do with like drugs, so maybe like mushrooms, and Toad's the little mushroom guy. I don't know, but it makes me like that song even more, so yeah. Some of these songs, I don't really know where I would rank them, but because they're just like, I kind of like them equally as the other ones. But if I had to rank all the songs on this album, my ranking would be Death or Glory, Mr. Devil, Dark Side of the Silver Spoon, Showbiz, Been Too Long, Pretty Stranger, Addicted to the Wicked and Twisted, Hot Mess, Just My Type, Ache in My Heart, For You, and then Self-Loathing Conversation. That one's just more like a radio rock type pop rock song, and that's like the only one on there that I just didn't like at all, like, unfortunately. But my favorite ones on here I really like, and that's what made me put this Palaye Royale album above the Bring Me the Horizon album. Because on Bring Me the Horizon, the only ones that I like really liked were like Kool-Aid and kind of Dark Side. I mean, like, I do like it, but it's just, I don't like it as much as my favorites on the Palaye Royale album. So my third album on the list of my favorite albums of the year is Linkin Park's From Zero. And on this album, they had a new lead singer, Emily Armstrong. She's also been in a band called Dead Sarah, which I didn't know about until she joined Linkin Park. And I love her screaming vocals. Like, those are some top tier screams. Like, I love the way she screams. I don't know how to describe it, but it's like, I like certain vocalists' screams better than others, and this is like some top tier screaming. It's not even like how hard she's screaming, or it's like the type of scream, you know what I'm saying? It's that kind of raspy, I don't know, but if you listen to it, you'll just know what I mean. So, for some reason, this is a very controversial topic. Like, a lot of people don't like her as the new singer, which, okay, I get it if it's because, you know, you feel like they shouldn't have ever replaced Chester Bennington with a new singer, because that's understandable. However, Linkin Park was never meant to end, and the other members still wanted to make music, so whether or not they should have continued making music under the name Linkin Park, I mean, that's debatable, but like I said, the band was never supposed to end, so like, I'm okay with it, and I'm sure they know that no one can ever replace Chester, and they're not trying to replace him, they're just trying to continue making music and also do something different by having another lead singer. So that's my thoughts on it. And you know, I love old Linkin Park, and this sounds like a Linkin Park album. For some reason, a lot of people I talked to said they didn't think that this sounds like Linkin Park, and I honestly don't know why, because I can hear in my head how Chester would sound singing these songs. So it sounds like a Linkin Park album to me. I don't know what to tell you, but it definitely is. And my favorite song on this album is definitely Casualty. It was kind of hard for me to choose between that and I Gave You Everything I Had. Or is it I Gave You Everything I Have? I don't know, but the the acronym is IGYEIH. So anyway, but yeah, those are my top two favorites, and my third favorite is Heavy as the Crown, and then Two-Faced, and then The Emptiness Machine, then Cut the Bridge, Stained, Overflow, Over Each Other, Good Things Go, and then From Zero. That's my ranking of the songs on this album. A lot of these songs just, they go so hard. Like Casualty, it's such a good angry song. And so is I Gave You Everything I Have, and Heavy as the Crown. That one, she has a really long scream on that one, so props to her for that. And The Emptiness Machine was the first single that they released off this album, and I think that one really does sound like an old Linkin Park song as well. And Two-Faced does really sound like an old Linkin Park song. The ones that sound more different from at least the Linkin Park songs that I've heard, because I haven't listened to all of their songs, but I've listened to like a good amount. But from what I've heard, I think Stained, Overflow, and Over Each Other, Good Things Go, like my less favorite ones on the album kind of sound less like old Linkin Park, because they're kind of more like mellow and poppy. Cut the Bridge is good too. I mean, Linkin Park does have some more mellow songs, but I just always love the heavier songs, so that's why the heavier songs are higher up on my list. So yeah, I think it's an awesome album. You know, I'm glad they're back. I mean, obviously they can't be completely back without Chester, but they're as back as they can be, you know, and I'm gonna see them on tour when they come to Chicago, so I'm very excited for that. Number 2 on my list is Clancy by 21 Pilots. My favorite songs on here, ranked from my favorite to least favorite, are Overcompensate, that one goes hard. Navigating, it was really hard for me to choose between Navigating and Overcompensate though, because those 2 songs are just such different songs, but they go hard in different ways. Like Overcompensate is like, has a very dramatic like intro that really gets you hyped up. And then Navigating is more like a dancey song, you know? And it's just so relatable. Like this whole album is so relatable, and it's just, I didn't even know how much I needed it until it was released and I heard it. Like, if you listen to the lyrics, it's just like everything they write is just so relatable. But especially this album, like I didn't know how much I needed it. And like they always come out with the songs you need at the perfect timing, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're always just there for you, you know? Overcompensate and Navigating are hard for me to choose between, but then I would say after that, Midwest Indigo, At the Risk of Feeling Dumb, Next Semester, Routines in the Night, Paladin Straight, Lavish, Backslide, Vignette, Oldie Station, The Craving, and Snapback. Snapback is just my least favorite. Like, I barely remember how it goes because I haven't listened to it as much as the other ones, and it just I didn't really like it the first time I heard it. And The Craving is just kind of more like of a folksy song, which they do have some more folksy songs in their discography, but those aren't really like my favorite ones. Like I said, I like the heavier songs, so. And then Oldie Station was just, I mean, they're all meaningful songs, you know, it's just the way that they sound musically is just not my favorite. Like, this is not my favorite 21 Pilots album, but it has some very good bops on here, and it's very relatable. Like, Vignette and Backslide didn't really stick out to me that much. Lavish is a funny song, especially when you watch the music video to go along with it. It's a very funny music video, I really like that. And Paladin Straight is just like, oof, you know, like it could give you chills, and it's kind of like, it's the last song in the album, and it's very hopeful and kind of eerie at the same time. It's like, what's gonna happen next? And I'm super excited to see what 21 Pilots does next, because they left this album and the whole story concept that they have going on with it, they left it on a cliffhanger, and it was kind of like an Infinity War ending, if you're a Marvel fan and you know what I mean. It left me very much kind of in the same state as Infinity War left me. Not quite, because nothing could really leave me in that kind of state as much as that movie could, but you know, it's like a close second almost. And I hate how much they keep us waiting, but you know, they're just really good at concept albums and storylines and marketing and getting you to really care about their albums. So yeah, if I had to rank my favorite 21 Pilots albums in order, Blurry Face is my #1 favorite, then Trench, then Vessel, then I think Scaled and Icy, and then Clancy, and then their self-titled album. And if you're counting Regional at Best, then Regional at Best would go right below Vessel, because it has some of the same songs on there. Like Vessel, it just had some songs, like some of the same songs remastered, plus extras, so it would go like below that one. Or like at the same level as Vessel. Self-titled is my least favorite because, well, first of all, it didn't even have Josh in the band at the time. And not that it wasn't good, like, there's some songs on there that I really love, like Fall Away, and I try to learn the piano on that song. And like Aircatcher, I really like that one, but like a lot of the songs on there are slower, and it's just, if I'm ranking them, that's just my least favorite. And it's very depressing, so, you know, you can only really listen to it if you're like really depressed, pretty much. Clancy, I don't know, I have to look at the songs, like how many favorite songs I have on Clancy compared to how many favorite songs I have on Scaled and Icy. I think I like Clancy better. Because, okay, if we're getting really in depth here, this is gonna be a long video, but Shy Away, The Outside, Never Take It, Bounce Man, No Chances, and Redecorate. And I like Formidable, and Choker, you know what, and Saturday. You know, I really like Scaled and Icy. At first, it was kind of like my least favorite, but I still liked it more than their first album. And now it's higher, it went up in the ranks. Like, it really grew on me. I actually think I like it more than Clancy. I don't know, it's really hard for me to choose, but yeah, that's kind of where it ranks for me. Okay, and y'all, Marilyn Manson's new album, One Assassination Under God, the whole album is a bop. It's a banger. It's complete deliciousness, okay? Every song on there is one of my favorite songs on the album. Like, there's no skips, there's no misses. If I had to rank them, and this ranking might change because a lot of them, I feel like they're interchangeable and they might change as I listen to it more, but like, I've been listening to this album a lot, and like, I've been listening to like all the songs on here a lot. And that usually never happens with me when a new album comes out. Usually there's like one or two or a few songs that I'm like playing on repeat, but with this one, it's like all the songs on here I'm like listening to over and over because they're just that good. Like, he kind of almost went back to his like Antichrist Superstar album with this, and kind of like Hollywood, that kind of thing, but there's also a new sound in there as well added to it, and his voice sounds like healthier on here, like compared to how he was sounding on his more recent albums before this, because I think maybe he went to a voice coach or something and he's like taking better care of his voice now, and maybe he's like trying not to scream as much, but there is still like some screamed and harsher vocals on this album that are really good. Like, it just overall, it sounds like kind of cleaner, which, you know, I mean, as you know, I love harsher vocals, and, you know, if you ask me to choose between clean or harsh vocals, I'm always gonna go with the screamed vocals, you know? But nevertheless, his voice sounds good on here, and it's better if he's taking better care of his voice anyway. So yeah, it kind of almost has like a goth, like Depeche Mode, like the Sisters of Mercy type vibe on here. Like, it's kind of like a dancey goth type thing, if you know what I mean. The ones that go the hardest on here are Not If You Understand, Raise the Red Flag, and Sacrilegious. Sacrilegious, especially the ending of that song, sounds a lot like the melody of the song Mr. Superstar that's on Antichrist Superstar, which is one of his most popular albums from 1996, if you didn't know. And basically, he's saying he's coming back, so the Antichrist Superstar persona maybe is coming back, and I'm here for it. Like, it seems like on this album, it definitely has a lot to do with his life and what he's been going through lately, like with all the legal stuff, we'll just put it at that. And like, it seems to me that the lyrics, if you listen to the lyrics, it seems to me that he's saying that he's not in the wrong and that he didn't do anything wrong, and that he's like coming back and he's like gonna get revenge, something like that. I won't delve too much deeper into that, but that's kind of what the lyrics sound like to me. Like, I'm just saying it sounds like he's talking about his life and what's been going on with him lately and how he's been feeling. So, I don't know, but you can decipher it for yourself, what he's trying to say. So yeah, if I had to rank the songs on here, this would be my ranking. Number 1, my favorite is Not If You Understand. Oh, the guitar on that, it's just so good. Like the chugging, it's like, And Raise the Red Flag, that's a good revenge song, very angry. And then Meet Me in Purgatory or Sacrilegious. It's hard for me to choose between those. It's also hard for me to choose between those and No Funeral Without Applause. I think I like Meet Me in Purgatory better. I don't know, it's hard. And then Death Is Not a Costume. That one in particular kind of reminds me of like a more like gothy type sound. And then As Sick as the Secrets Within. That was the first single he released off this album. And then he released Raise the Red Flag. So that one was really good. And then One Assassination Under God. And then the last song in the album, Sacrifice of the Mass. But even though it's like the last out of these, it's like still like really, really good. It's one of those that you can like listen to again and again. Like, it's just kind of like a longer song and it kind of takes a while to build it up. So, you know, usually I just want to listen to like the shorter, more energetic songs. Typically, I mean, depending on what mood I'm in, of course, but that's just kind of how I am. So yeah. I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you listen to that Marilyn Manson album right now. Once again, it's called One Assassination Under God. And it is top tier, okay? Favorite album of the year. So yeah, let me know if you think I should have included any other albums on this list that you thought were super good, or let me know what your albums of the year are in the comments below. Also, if you didn't know, Pop Punk and Pizza is nominated for Best Music Podcast for the Chicago Reader. And if you could vote for us, I would really, really appreciate it. And I'll put the link in the description below so you can check it out. I'll also put the link to our Patreon in the description if you want to check that out. You get some cool perks like a free sticker, a 20% off discount on our merch. And if you're like a band or a publicist or you work with bands, the other 2 tiers, I think it's like Super Deluxe and Deluxe or Supreme or something like that. You can check it out below, but those are more like fitting for if you're a band or if you work with bands, and I can review your albums or do an interview with the band. So yeah, be sure to check that out, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye! Oh yeah, and Meryl the Mouse says Happy New Year's.
It's nice to meet you.